Good morning, Bulldogs. Thank you. So, one of the things we've learned, right, even in the assembly, is when one person's talking, everyone else is listening. Said, I'd like to thank Ms. Teresa Iglesias in working alongside Mr. Austin Fortuno. He's our former graduate student, by the way, from Okkodo High School. He comes out of the AG's office. So I'd like to also thank Attorney General Doug Moylan for being here and his team. And so they're here today to share a couple of topics that you as a class have chosen. And so I believe some of them are student and adult rights, math, and how to become an attorney. So some of you might be a mock trial. Maybe that's why you chose that topic. Who knows? But I'm sure they have a plethora or a lot of information here to share with each and every one of you. So as they run through the presentation, please listen to what they have to say, soak that in, and if you have questions, there will be a Q&A at the end of today's presentation, right? So I ask that you remain respectful and listen to the presenters. They have a lot of information to share and a lot of knowledge, and hopefully you take that knowledge and you bring it back not only to the classroom but outside of the community so that you can share that information so that everyone becomes aware of the different types of topics that you're able to hear about today. Okay? With that said, please give Mr. Attorney Doug Moylan a big round of applause and his whole team here who have taken the time out to share their information with us this morning. Okay? So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. All right. Good morning, Bulldogs. Yes. And as Ms. Flores mentioned, I am a proud Bulldog, class of 2020. Let's go. Any who's graduating this year? Any seniors in here? All right. Let's give them a round of applause. They're almost there. All right. Just a few more months. Again, my name is Austin Fortuno, and I serve as a special projects coordinator with the Attorney General's office from our team here. Anybody familiar with what the Attorney General is and what our office does? Okay, that's actually a good thing because that means you guys are on the right side of the law. But Attorney General Moylan here is going to talk about what we do, what he does, and the role that we play in enforcing Guam's laws. But let's get ourselves warmed up a little bit before we start off with our presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and ask everyone to please raise their left hand up high. Look at your friend, make sure it's their left hand. They know what's left. You do the thing, right, with the L, left. All right, now go ahead and raise your right hand with your left hand up high. Okay, both hands in the air. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. Good morning, indeed. All right, so we have some presentations for us today, with beginning with the topic of becoming an attorney. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to the Attorney General of Guam, Douglas Moylan, to deliver some welcoming remarks. Let's give him a round of applause.
Everybody. I guess your parents voted in the 2022 election. One of the offices that they voted for was an elected attorney general. In 2022, probably before some of you guys, if not most of you guys, were born, 2002, I was honored to have been the first elected attorney general. I served 6 years at the legislature as a legislative counsel. I oversaw what Congress had done by changing our law so that you have an attorney general in the Organic Act. Does anybody know what the primary duty of an attorney general is? The attorney general is what they sometimes call the top cop, the chief law enforcement officer, and on Guam, it's also called the chief legal officer under the statutes that Congress passed for Guam. It's above our local legislature when they created, like the governor, the judiciary. It's what they call like the Constitution, but it's not the Constitution because we're just a territory of the United States. So I'm very honored to be here, and I think that it's time well spent for my office staff because we need to educate you on how to be law-abiding students, how to be law-abiding citizens, so that you never have to really meet myself or my prosecutors like Chris Gray, who recently came and joined our team from Kansas. And Chris is a trial prosecutor. So if you get into trouble and you commit a crime, people like Chris are protecting you because all of you and your parents are our client. That is who the Attorney General represents. So, without further ado, let me have Chris talk to you about what it means to become an attorney. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. As my boss, actually, the AG is actually like my boss's boss's boss. He's 3 levels above. I'd mentioned my name is Chris. I actually moved from Kansas City. I was living in Kansas, but I lived prior to that in Texas. So as the AG had mentioned, I am what they call a prosecutor. Show of hands, does everybody know what a prosecutor or an attorney or a lawyer? Anybody heard of those terms? No, just a couple of you. How about this? Has anyone seen Suits? More people? What about Lincoln Lawyer? No? Okay. Well, that makes it a little harder, but let me explain kind of our main role as far as an attorney, a lawyer. I'm a specific type of lawyer attorney. I'm a prosecutor. So we basically represent the interests of the people when it comes to making sure that our communities are safe. Think of us as what the AG had mentioned, we're the cops, but we're in court representing and making sure that the criminals are facing justice for what they did. And I heard earlier that you guys wrote a topic concerning how to become an attorney. Is that correct? How many of you guys wrote on that topic? Not one person wrote on that topic? No? Is one person, okay. Is anybody here interested in becoming an attorney? Wonderful, okay. Well, hopefully I will change that mind a little bit and we'll have a little bit more people raising their hand next time you guys are asked that question. So let me first talk about how to become an attorney. First thing you need to do is finish high school. That is very important. And that speaks directly to you all because you guys are here. And to kind of get into my position, you first need to finish high school. After high school, you go to college. Finish college. Now, as far as after college, you get a degree, and then you apply to what they call the law school admissions test, or the LSAT. It is a full day test, and basically the whole purpose of that is to get into law school. Now, is anybody planning on going to college? Which, you know, what degrees you guys are thinking of doing? Show of hands, anybody? Yes, sir. Yeah. Tell your name and.
Cody Seguenza, and the degree I'm going to be pursuing is engineering, just one of those branches.
Wonderful. Yeah. Anyone else?
Anybody want to share what bachelor's degree they want to pursue in college? All right, go ahead.
My name is Aaron Antonio, and I want to do business.
Wonderful. Okay. Anyone else? Don't be shy. It's okay. There's a reason I'm asking.
Anyone
this.
else want to share? Someone back here? All right. Oh, okay, over there in the corner. So you got engineering so far. Got business administration. Okay. All right, sir. Just go ahead and.
My name is Ralph, and I want to pursue computer engineering.
Okay. And then what about our guy that wants to become an attorney? What degree were you thinking of getting?
My name is Tal Muchu, and I plan on getting English degree.
Okay, great. How many of you guys think, based on those degrees, qualify to go to law school? Yeah. Say that again?
All of them?
That's right. See, to get to law school and to take the exam, it doesn't matter what degree you get. You can get an arts degree, an engineering degree, a business degree. And in all honesty, what you'll learn is that every type of degree or every type of business out there, the law touches. We really do. Even in the schools, there's administrative law, there's all kinds of educational law out there. Now, after you take the LSAT, you go to law school. There are plenty of law schools in the U.S. It stretches to every state. And some states have multiple law schools. Law school typically takes about 3 years to finish. So first you got 4 years of your bachelor's and 3 years of law school. After law school, you basically get a degree. It's an advanced degree. It's called a Juris Doctorate or a JD. Anybody here have initials JD as far as their name? Like a John Daniel here, or is there a Jimmy? No? Anybody? I'm just trying to make you guys remember it. It's important to remember those initials, JD. So a JD is a doctorate degree. It's the same degree as you would get, like a medical doctor would get, or somebody who's got a PhD. I'm never going to call myself a doctor. I have a cooler title, I think. I'm a prosecutor or an attorney. That's kind of our equivalent to that, right? After you get your JD degree, you then take what they call the law school exam. It is a 2-day exam, and it's full days. First day is multiple choice, and the second day is basically you take what they call essays or practicals at that point. After you finish that, that's when you become licensed as an attorney in the state or the territory that you want to practice at, and you're an attorney. At that point, we now branch out, or an attorney or lawyer, then we branch out to kind of specialties. Does that make sense? And my specialty is a prosecutor. Like I said, mentioned earlier, what I do is basically, if you commit a crime, the law agencies or the police department will basically file a case against you, and then it goes through the court process. If you guys ever watch TV when it comes to court, I'm the guy on the other side that's basically saying, he did this wrong, and we need to make sure he seeks justice. What's really funny is they portray us, the prosecutors, as the bad guys in most movies or like TV shows that you see out there. If you watch Lincoln Lawyer, you'll see that. But in reality, the truth is far from that. Our job is to be the sword and the shield when it comes to the community. We want to make sure we protect you guys, right? Our job is to shield you from the bad guys, and part of our tool is to be the sword to make sure that everybody that's out there that's committing crime is facing justice. All right? Exciting stuff? No? Anybody else when I want to become an attorney? It's pretty fun. You get to go to trial, you get to ask a bunch of questions. No interest at all? Okay. I recommend watching maybe a Lincoln Lawyer out there. It's really kind of interesting because you get to see those things. All right. I'm going to hand off the mic back to Austin. He's going to ask you guys a few questions. Remember the name I mentioned earlier.
All right, thanks. Let's give Assistant Attorney General Chris Gray a round of applause. Again, one of our top seasoned prosecutors from our office. And again, he did mention that I am going to ask a few of questions, just to see if everyone's paying attention. But can anyone in here spot where Eric the Eagle is? Our office mascot, right there. Yes, that's Eric the Eagle. And he has some gifts for you guys, if you guys get my questions correct. Uh-oh. Now everyone's like, crap, I should have listened to him, right? Crap, I should have said I want to become an attorney. Yes, he has some little gifts, and as you can see, he's Eric the Eagle, and he's holding what? Little tiny eagle. Anyone know what you call a baby eagle? It's not a joke, I'm just giving you a fact, right? What do you call a baby eagle? It's an eaglet. So he's holding a little eaglet with him. I'm gonna go ahead and ask some questions from Chris's presentation. Hopefully everyone was listening. Again, all you need to do is raise your hand. I'm gonna go up to you, say your name, stand up, and then give your answer. Pretty easy questions. You get a chance to get a little gift from our office. So first question, Chris mentioned this. What kind of graduate degree do attorneys usually have? Oh, got one here. All right, make sure you get it right, okay? All right, go ahead and say your name and tell us, what kind of graduate degree do attorneys usually have?
Cody Seguenza, any degree?
Any degree? Well, I'm talking about a graduate degree. He did mention you can get any undergraduate degree, right? You want to do engineering. But when you go to law school, what kind of degree do you get in law school? All right, let's go right here.
Jordan Kalimlan, Juris Doctorate, JD.
All right, let's give Jordan a round of applause. Great job, Jordan. One of our mock trial, Okkodo mock trial champions, right? Yes, and he's going off island soon enough. Great job. Yes, it is a Juris Doctor or a JD. You go to graduate school for that. All right, next question. Hopefully everyone was listening. All right, so you're in law school. You're working on your Juris Doctor or your JD. How long do you stay in law school? How long does law school usually take? Let's give it to a young woman over here. All right, go ahead and say your name and tell us.
I'm Jaina Cruz, and a law degree takes 3 years.
3 years, great job, Jaina. All right, yes, a law school degree usually takes 3 years. And you know, again, as Chris mentioned, you're on the right path, right? You're going to school, hopefully you're getting good grades, you're doing your homework, you're listening to Mr. LeBrandon, Ms. Iglesias, and all of your social studies teachers. Really, it's social studies that sets you up for success. Again, I work for the Attorney General's office, and social studies was my favorite class, yeah, right? Mr. LeBrandon is my favorite teacher over there. But yeah, learn a lot, and obviously, as long as you stay the path, you could be off to do greater things. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it off to our next presentation by the Attorney General of Guam, Douglas Moreland, to talk to you guys about student and adult rights and responsibilities. Let's go ahead and give him a round of applause.
So, I wanted to say something. My trial prosecutor, which is Chris over here, although he looks like he's from Guam, he's actually from Kansas, like I mentioned. One of the things that he didn't mention was we don't have enough lawyers on Guam. I graduated from Father Duenas back in 1984, and there was a group of us that went to be lawyers. It was popular to be a lawyer, and it kind of worries me as a citizen, a resident like you guys, that we only had one that was interested in becoming a lawyer. So, one of the things I wanted to say is, first, please clap for Chris, who came from Kansas to help us. It's people like Chris that keep our island safe. The subjects we're going to talk about the meth addicts, about all the crime that's going on, about people getting hurt, your parents, you getting your houses robbed, burglarized, things like that. Without people like Chris and our attorneys and our support staff here, you're going to be victimized. Does anybody like being a victim? No. Nobody likes having their things taken. Nobody likes being hurt. Nobody likes being killed. Or raped. That's the thing why you need a judicial system, a criminal justice system, and nothing gets filed in the court without people like Chris, without an attorney general. That's how important what we're talking to you about is. So, having said that, Techal, he's going to English, and what Chris mentioned, it's not just, the law schools, although they don't require a background in terms of what you graduate from, business major, science major, doesn't matter when you go to law school. But who they like are English majors. Because what are we doing right now? We're communicating, right? That's what a lawyer is. We represent a client, and we're there to be the best attorney possible. So it's people like you that are going to be the lawyers of the future and help our people. And I think that's what the AG's office is about. So I was asked to now talk and shift gears into what it means to be a student and what it means to be an adult. Does anybody know when you become an adult? What age do you become an adult? Right, 18 years. Does anybody know when you can start to drink? Okay, so as a lawyer, I'm going, wait a minute. I'm an adult at 18, I have to pay taxes, I can sign contracts like Docomo or whoever you want to sign your cellular contract with, get a credit card, things like that, but I can't drink. So that was interesting to me as a lawyer that you're 18, you can be drafted, and I see a lot of ROTC people here. By the way, which military are you guys in, the Army or the... Okay, so you guys are the Marine contingent. So you can die for your country, you can hit the beach, you can be the tip of the sword, but you can't drink. That is a decision that our country or the United States Congress made, that if Guam wants to get the federal money to fix the roads, then we have to make our law 21. And the reason why they did that, and we'll talk a little bit later about meth kills, is because the studies show that the brain, your body is still developing all the way to maybe 21. So it's safer not to drink until 21. That was the decision that Congress made, and they asked the states to follow it. And they said, if you don't follow it, we're not going to give you money for the roads. So that's what 18 means for all of you. That means that you can also be charged with adult crimes, okay? That's one of the more important things that you need to know, that if you hurt somebody, guys, if you touch girls the wrong way, you can actually be arrested by the Guam Police Department and then charged as an adult when you hit 18. But having said that, when you're 16 years old, how many of you are 16? Okay? How many of you are 18, by the way? Ah, there you go. So you 16 to 18-year-olds need to be very careful because although there's a DYA out there, Department of Youth Affairs, and because there's this special place to put the minors, and they keep you, if you get in trouble, they can keep you up to 18 and sometimes 21. When you're charged as an adult by people like Chris, God forbid that he doesn't get a police report with your name on it, you 16 to 18-year-olds, you'll be going to see a regular judge open to the public. You're going to be embarrassed. And what's more important is that once you put it on your record that you violated the law, committed a crime, it hurts when you try to get a job. Like when you apply for law school, one of the things they're going to ask you is, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Because the Bar Association, they don't want people with convictions representing other people for whatever reason. You can still become a lawyer, but it becomes more difficult. There's a scrutiny that they have. So that's one of the things that you can do when you become 18, is you can be charged with a crime. That's the bad side of life. Let's not want to talk about the bad things, right? You guys, your futures are very bright. You guys have the capability of being whatever you want to be. Did you know that Austin and I think 48 hours ago, about 2 days ago, we were in Washington, D.C. Did you know who we met in Washington, D.C.? How many of you are science majors? Or like science, I guess? Science fair participants, things like that? So about 48 hours ago, we were in Washington, D.C., 8,000 miles away. It takes you at least 20 hours to get there. Guess who we saw? Elon Musk. Went up and said hello to him. He is a man that, because of education, he's probably one of the smartest men on our planet. He's shown NASA how to design rockets and how to hopefully get to Mars one day. So, this is what education is important for us. This is where the trigger between when you guys become young adults, teenagers, and then you become an adult and you have to be responsible. Also, paying taxes. Do any of you pay taxes? I think the 18-year-olds, you have to file, I think the rule is if you don't make any income, you don't necessarily have to file the return, but I could be wrong on that because usually there's a special body of law. But if you earn any income, you got to start telling the government how much you earned so that they can decide if you have to pay taxes. Okay? So that 18-year-old age is very important for all of you because it's an age that you become responsible and held responsible. It's also the age, by the way, that your parents can say bye-bye. I know on Guam, that's not very popular. Parents always want to keep you guys in their homes. In the States, when I was going to a college, all my friends, their parents literally said, you're out of here when you hit 18 years old. So, cultural stuff. But realize that you have to start paying your own bills, and you should really start paying your own bills when you hit 18. If you go further college, which we encourage, thank your parents if they're helping you out. So now, do any of you know what free speech is? Have you ever heard that statement that as a citizen you have a right to free speech? Does anybody know where that phrase free speech comes from? Where? First Amendment of what? The Constitution of the United States. When you're an American citizen, you're given a bunch of rights. Just like if you're an English citizen, a Japanese citizen, in the United States, one of the most important rights, and you look at the numbers, the First Amendment, is your free speech right. There's a freedom of assembly, there's a freedom of religion. It's all in the First Amendment. That's how important the founders of the Constitution believed it was. On a legal note, just a little on a side here, Guam, we don't have the First Amendment directly. Guam, as residents of Guam, it comes through the Organic Act. And not all the rights were adopted in the Organic Act that Congress passed. But if you're an American citizen, you go to Hawaii, and they're a state, so the Constitution applies to you directly. The U.S. Constitution applies to us through the Organic Act. Now, in terms of your rights in school, now we got to be careful here. Although you have the right to say certain things, and we talk about cyberbullying, right? Cyberbullying is where you use your devices, you abuse your devices, and you hurt other students. In many states, and including Guam, you can violate somebody's rights by harassing them. The free speech right is not absolute. Like, what would happen if you guys were in a crowded theater and yelled fire? It was all dark, 9 o'clock at night, people were watching the movie, and then you started to yell that there's a fire. What's going to happen? Panic. What else? You're going to get, normally you get people trampling one another, and people can die, you know, like at a stadium. You know, the soccer games you hear sometimes when there's everybody's rampaging out of there. There's usually somebody gets knocked down and everybody starts stepping on them, and they usually die from broken bones or couldn't breathe. Is that free speech? That you have a right to say that? No, you don't. There's types of speech that when it's not productive and it endangers the public, that the courts will not protect that type of speech, okay? So there's nuances on free speech, and when I say this, it's like when you use your devices and you guys start ganging up on a particular student and bullying them, you can get into trouble from the school, you can get in trouble from the government. So it's a matter of respecting one another, right? When you respect people, you don't do things. It's like what your parents hopefully taught you all. You know, follow the rules, respect one another. What about your bags here? If your principal, if Miss Flores decided to put a metal detector over there, any of you burgeoning law students, do you think that you could challenge it at that metal detector and say, I have a privacy right to what's in my backpack, and I'm going to walk through the metal detector and you can't touch what's in my bag? Can you do that? Can you fight the idea that you have a privacy right and they shouldn't be going into your bags when you come into school? Anybody? You might want to seek his representation if you do. The law is basically, because of the school shootings and things like that, that you do not have that privacy right in certain circumstances. They find that children are so important to us as a nation that we need to we have the right to check certain things. Like when you go on the airplane, you know what happened on 9/11, things like that. So this heightened security in the world that we live in is very important. So your privacy rights are tempered with the danger to life. So you would not have a right to tell your teachers with your backpack coming in through a metal detector or through somebody in the front saying, I want to take a look at what's in your bag. You would have to open it up, and if you challenged it, they probably could kick you out of school, and the judge would allow that. Okay? So these are the student rights. These are your rights as an adult. It depends upon the issue. Sometimes you have not as much rights when you're a student. And by the way, that would also apply to adults if they put a metal detector in the front. It's just the idea. They balance things in the law. They take an issue and then they decide how important is that right relative to the issue. It's like the the right to bear arms for the ROTC guys in here. The right to bear arms is not absolute. Does anybody know why the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, was passed originally in the Constitution? A lot of people don't understand. What is your name? Aaron. What Aaron just said there, when you listen to the Second Amendment rights people, they're always talking about houses and protecting your house against the prowler. But in fact, the Second Amendment was originally meant to stop the British from being a tyrannical government to the colonies. They decided to break away from England, right? And they decided that in order to do that, because the English army was enforcing the king's law, that you had a right to create a militia to overthrow and to prevent England from ruling the colonies. And that right still exists to this day, that the government of the United States and government of Guam and whoever cannot take your weapon from you, but they have regulated what type of weapons that you can have. Okay, so that's always a fight in the courts. People that feel that they should be unregulated for a firearm versus people that think that a machine gun or a claymore mine should not be owned by the regular person. And right now, I think we're on the side that machine guns cannot be owned by the normal person. But for the most part, you can own a assault rifle, a semi-automatic. So this is the type of stuff that we talk about as lawyers. It's not that difficult. Once you keep, like in social studies and your civics classes, once you hear it, you start to understand it because you're looking at the rationale behind the law, okay? So that's what lawyers do, and I'm sure like engineers, people that want to be in other professions. To be in a discipline, by the way, for your futures, anything that requires a license from the government is usually brings in more money for you and is harder to get into. As Chris was saying, going to law school doesn't make you an attorney. That word attorney only gets given to you when you pass the bar examination, okay? So, you know, this is part of your quality of life. You guys have to pay the bills, right? You're gonna have to buy a car, get a house, you know, and when you have children, hopefully your children, you're gonna pay their bills and not rely upon everybody else to pay it. You know, when you get welfare assistance, do you know who pays that? Who pays the welfare assistance? Like when somebody can't afford something. Everybody. All of you, that's the taxes that I mentioned. When you get 18 years old and you're making money, they take some money out of it to pay for the public schools, the air conditioning you're enjoying today, as well as welfare assistance. So when you're an American, what is the American dream? Does anybody know what form of a government we have? Do we have a socialist government? Do we have a communist government? Do we have a dictatorship? We're a democratic capitalist society. And what is capitalism? You earn what you work for. Each person, they become successful. What is the American dream? Anybody know what the American dream is? Come on, you guys should know this. It's part of being an American. What is the American dream they talk about? The American dream, boys and girls, is rags to riches. Success based upon your hard work. That is the American dream. My grandfather was a product of the American dream. He was his family was victimized by the Great Depression. Does anybody know when the Great Depression was? Right, but you know what year that was? Very good. 1929 is when the Great Depression started. When capitalism failed the United States, and then the government found out that it needs to provide a safety network because they cannot have people from middle class going down to poverty. They needed to protect it when the stock market falls, stuff like that. So, are we at a break point?
All right, that's about does it for our topic on student rights and responsibilities. Go give Attorney General a round of applause. Okay, so the Attorney General talked about some important stuff. Again, hopefully everyone was paying attention. Where's Eric's over there? He's got his little gifts on hand. Hopefully everyone was paying attention. All right. At what age do you turn, or what age do you legally become an adult again? It's not a question, it's just a general. Don't worry. It's too easy. Come on, you guys. Right, what age? 18, right? And being 18 comes with rights and responsibilities. So I'm going to ask my question. When you turn 18, can you tell me what is one legal responsibility you gain as an adult that you don't have as a minor, and why is that legal responsibility important? Let's go over here. Okay. All right. Over here. Right here. Okay. All right. Go ahead and say your name and give us that legal responsibility and why do you think it's important?
Oh shoot, I don't know. My name is Abigail, and one of the things is paying taxes to help everybody.
Right? Yeah, Abigail's right, right? Paying taxes helps everybody. You pay your fair share. Hopefully, you don't pay too much, right? Again, paying taxes is one of them. Let's do one more. What's one more? Okay, you're gonna do it this time, right? You got it? Okay. All right. Everybody, give Cody your full attention. He's gonna give us one legal responsibility that he gains as an adult. Are you already an adult? No. Not yet. How many more years? Like 2 months. 1 month. Okay, he's about to turn 18 in a month. Okay, so give us that legal responsibility. Why is it important?
You get the right to vote for a president, or you get to vote for a governor. It just depends on where you are. You get to vote.
Yes, and why is that important?
It's important because those are the people who dictate how those next 4 years, 2 years, whatever's depending, how your life's going to be and the policies that they're going to change and add.
There you go. Let's give Cody a round of applause. He's correct, right? You can vote. Just a question for the room. Do you vote for your Attorney General? Yes. The Attorney General, right, is an elected Attorney General. He is elected to enforce your laws, just like our governor, just like our senators. Okay, I have one more question on this topic. Hopefully everyone was paying attention. Okay, this is a true or false statement, so hopefully everyone can get this. Students have an absolute right to free speech, true or false? Okay, you wanna give us your name and tell us why is it true or why is it false?
My name's Isabella, and it's false because in certain situations, we have to prioritize people's safety.
Yeah, right, people's safety. Yeah, she's correct. Give her a round of applause. As the Attorney General mentioned, right, if your statements are not productive, if they endanger the public, if it disrupts learning, yeah, you cannot claim, you can't stand in front of a court and say it was my right to free speech. You can't scream food fight or bomb or something like that in the cafeteria, right? You could get in very big trouble for that. All right, so we'll go ahead and transition to our last topic of the day. Again, make sure you're paying attention so you get your chance at a little gifts from Eric. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand it back to the Attorney General to talk about meth kills and parental substance abuse, all right?
Okay, so we were talking about alcohol earlier, right? So, does anybody know what meth is? Raise your hand. What is meth? Yes, methamphetamine. Raise your voice. What is your name? Jack? Can you put the mic here, please? I'm sorry, Jack?
My name is Jackery, and
Zachary.
Huh?
Jackery or Zachary?
Yeah, Jackery, the first one.
Jackery, very good.
And methamphetamine is a drug, which is
Right.
It's commonly used on Guam.
Right. It's from the Attorney General's office, methamphetamine is probably the worst scourge of synthetic drug that's ever been experienced by our people. What it does is it changes your brains so that you become like an animal, a pet. Anybody know what Pavlov's response is? Pavlov's response? Yes.
Pavlov trained the dog to when he heard the sound of a bell ringing, it would know it's getting fed, so it starts salivating.
Exactly. What is your name?
Joseph.
Very good answer, Joseph. That's a college-educated response. So what the connection between methamphetamine and Pavlov's response is that methamphetamine, if you take it long enough, and I'm not talking about very much of it, you start losing sense of reality, and you start only wanting to get that drug because your body and your brain become transformed so that you need it, you want it, and you'll do anything to get it. And the problem with that is if you want to kill yourself, go kill yourself. But if you want to take meth, there's a high danger that you, your parents, your sisters, your brothers, everybody that's in our community will become a victim of a meth addict. Because the meth addict, the first thing that starts happening is that if they have a job, they usually get fired or they can't even understand what time to go to work because their body and their brain become so caught up in methamphetamine that they lose sense of time. They're up for maybe 48 hours at a time. They don't sleep. That's the type of effect that methamphetamine does to your brains. In those sliders up there, you see on the your right side there, the powder and the crystal substances. That's what's happening right now, is that they're being passed around in those two main forms. People like Chris, we're locking up the meth addicts. Does anybody know, do you know what a misdemeanor is? Misdemeanor is less than a year in jail. A felony is more than a year in jail. Does anybody know how long they can be put in jail for just possessing that methamphetamine? Yes. I think it's 3 years. So your good response. Because it's more than a year, it's a felony, and you guys can be put in jail, especially there's a lot of 18-year-olds here. So if the police find you with meth, you can be put in jail. Do you know why there's so many, if you read the newspaper, why so many meth addicts are being pulled over in their cars? Do you understand what that connection is? It's because the meth addicts can't drive right. And because the meth addicts, they're stealing cars, they're borrowing cars from other meth addicts, and they're not registering those cars. So when the police are driving and they see either the swerving going around, not driving straight, or they look at the license plates, they see that it's expired registrations, they pull them over. Do you know what type of behavior the police start seeing when you're on meth? Some of the things that a police officer observes. It makes people laugh when they say it, but do you know what they see? One of my friends here was actually, about 6 months ago, actually saw a meth addict that was walking on the side of the road and had taken something, so pulled over and started talking to the meth addict. How he could tell that person was a meth addict? She started dancing in front of him. Out of the blue, he talks to her, and it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning, and a person had taken something, AG staff pulled over, started questioning them, and started to dance. I get called up, and I was asked, do you want this person arrested? Because it took a property of the AG's office. And I says, it's okay, just let her go. But first thing she said after she stopped dancing was, take me to a meth clinic. So she was disoriented, she didn't understand what was going on, and she was seeking help. Before we could get the police there to help her, she ended up in the middle of the road. You know Airport Road? She went right in the middle of the road and started to dance. And this was one of our local people. That's what meth is going to do to each one of you. There's no difference on the behaviors that happens when you have meth. It will affect you, and what it will eventually do to you. We make it very clear because that is what we're finding in society. What is meth going to do to you if you keep taking it long enough? It's going to kill you. Meth will kill you. It doesn't matter whether we put you in jail or not because you're still alive. And all of you guys, you're so young, you don't appreciate what life is yet. But at some point, as you get older, your grandpa, your grandmas, life becomes very precious because they know life is ending soon. Okay? What meth does, if God said that you're going to die at 85, 95 years old, meth takes your life away so that even if you stop it, you're not going to live as long. Does anybody know what organ the meth affects the most and causes death, early deaths? It affects the brain, definitely it affects the brain. But what causes you to die early because of taking meth? Heart, right? You said that. What's your name? Jared? Jared? Jared's right. The medical examiner on Guam, Dr. Nine, if you read the newspapers, he came out with a report last year, and he was before the legislature, Speaker Terlahi, and he disclosed that 1 in 17 bodies that he opened up had meth in their system. And this is known worldwide, that what meth does is it makes your heart go so fast, it starts damaging it, the muscle in it, and the heart is a muscle, right? Any of you biology majors? Can a heart be fixed? When you lose capacity, you're a baby, you got 100% heart capacity, pumping capacity. As you start getting older, your pumping capacity starts to go down. Do you know if a heart can be fixed back to 100% in our medical science? No, cannot. There's no way to fix the heart. Even with the, does anybody know those baby, what do they call that? The baby tissues? It's called stem cell. Stem cells. Their studies have been able to regrow muscle in the heart with stem cells, the baby's placenta and stuff like that. But it's never been able to increase the pumping capacity back to the normal capacity. So for your purposes, understand that if you don't die from meth because you overdose, you take life away from yourselves with at least the heart, but everything else in your body will be affected. Your organs. Anybody know what Dofi means? Dofi? What is your name? I'm sorry? Mika? What does Dofi mean? No tea. So for all you pretty young ladies out there, realize that if you start meth, the first thing you're going to start to lose as your body starts to deteriorate, and all you guys too, by the way, is your teeth. And implants usually don't work. Implants will not work on a meth addict or a druggie because everything in your bone structure, it starts to weaken in the mouth. So the dentists know this, and I represented a dentist before, so he walked me through the whole thing. They would put an implant, a new tooth, in the hole where the other tooth fell out, and within 2 years, it would just come out. That's what happens when you take meth. Now, also, this whole thing we talked about alcohol. Alcohol is also a drug, right? Alcohol is a drug. And if you take alcohol long enough, you're also going to start damaging your organs. Which is the organ that alcohol most damages? The liver. So it's cirrhosis of the liver. People that have liver failure, you need the liver, you will die without a liver. So you die early. The main thing, girls and boys, is make sure that you understand what meth will do to you. Now, since we're doing such a bang-up job at the AG's office and our judges are so good, we're rounding up all the meth addicts, okay? And we're putting them in jail. They're staying in there for a while. Those people that sell meth, who do you think they're going to look for when they lose their customers that are in prison? Who do you think they're looking for? Us. That's the answer. So if you guys, and how they do it, and you guys are smarter than the 6th graders or the younger kids that we talk to, how they're going to do it is that they're going to offer free samples. Okay? So if you guys, and you're old enough to know that, if somebody comes up to you and gives you something and says, try this because it's going to make you feel good, obviously you should be smart enough just to reject it. But to help your other classmates, turn them in. You know, it's not a uncool thing to do to turn the meth addicts in, because some meth addict is giving some kid, could be your friends, the drug in order to get you hooked. And it's going to be free. And then once you get that urge, I use the example of a vampire. Once the vampire bites you, that's it, right? So once you get hooked on meth, what's going to happen when you go back to your friend and say that, can I get more meth? Ka-ching, you now are being charged for something. And you now have the Pavlov's dog response that you become unable to say no. So when you have no money, you're going to start to steal. That's why a lot of the homeless people, a lot of them become addicted to meth, and it makes them homeless. And what happens when you got a meth addict in your house? Your parents kick them out. Your relatives kick them out. Because when you're at work working, they're in your safe, they're in your purse, they're in everything to sell in what you have in order to get the money so they can pay the drug dealer, and eventually destroys your life. That's how important it is that we're saying this. It's not about locking you up. It's about life. It's about your future. It's about making the American dream. You know, that's the type of stuff we're talking about here, okay? So, did any of you have any particular questions? Yes.
I didn't even ask the question yet. Okay, so no, I think what you're what you're saying is very important for our community. But how can we feel it's safe to report it while being anonymous? Who do we report it to? How to do it? And of course, if we're gonna like report a neighbor or something, but like, hey, wasn't that you? Like, I could feel them being nervous about that. But I know they want to report to protect their parents, to protect their siblings, their uncles, and without them being, you know, targeted as were you. So how can we empower them? Hey guys, you can report it. You will be protected. This is how you would be able to do it. We got your back. I think that'll be very helpful information.
Very good question. So the first question is, who's the one that's either pushing the drugs on you or taking the drugs? If it's your parents, you're going to be saving your parents' lives by telling somebody to get them the help that they need. And it's not a joke. Family court that we have in the AG's office and the judiciary, people don't see what's going on in there. So if it's your parents or somebody that you love that's around you that you trust, you need to report it to a teacher, to a counselor, even to another family member that you trust that isn't on meth. You know, that's one category, right? Because you don't want to hurt your parents, obviously, but you're not hurting them by getting them the help they need, okay? That's the first step for people in your inner circles. Now, for people like your friends and stuff, you're also helping them. You're saving their lives. You need to tell the principal. You need to tell a person in authority that can help them, okay? You obviously know about the police department. You can go in and talk to the police, say you don't want to be known, give them the information. What you just said there, you get a lot of your parents, by the way, that are telling the AG's office, the police, about meth addicts in their villages, meth addicts next door, because they're blasting the music at 2 o'clock in the morning and nobody's going to sleep in that house, you know? Meth addicts, they're not hard to find. You can tell their face becomes emaciated. They're looking like a vampire, you know? They're nervous, they're twitching, they're dancing around, they're not acting normal. That's usually behavioral indicators. But telling the police, telling the Attorney General's office, making the calls, we need help, okay? No person alone can fix a meth addict. It requires professionals, from the police to take them away from other people so they don't hurt us, to the public health, to mental health. Meth makes you a mental health patient if you don't understand that. It's not you're mentally ill or you're sane. Meth can create a condition that makes you like a mental health patient. So it often gets blurred what help is to these people, okay? Very good question, thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay.
All right. Any more questions for the Attorney General? Now's the time to throw it. Anyone? All right. Well, that's about does it. Now it's my time to ask questions for you guys. Hopefully y'all are paying attention. But let's go ahead and give Attorney General Moylan a round of applause. All right. Thank you so much, Nijimu. All right. Hopefully everyone's paying attention. We're just wrapped up our last topic. Everybody can see Eric over there. He's getting ready. He has his little gifts. So I'm going to ask a few questions on our last topic. First question, let me go on this side because I think I'm going on that side more. All right, first question. This is a yes or no question, so if you can answer. Can a minor, are all of you minors except for the ones who said they're 18? Who in here is a minor? That's anyone who is not 18. Okay, can a minor selling drugs like meth be charged as an adult? Yes or no? You want to take a shot at it? Okay, all right, go ahead and say your name and tell us.
Sienna.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Sienna is correct. You can be charged as an adult. Let's go give her a round of applause. Right? Possession of a controlled substance, a Schedule II controlled substance. If you are charged, you can be charged as an adult and you could be put away for 3 years. Best to just not do it, right? Next question. As the Attorney General mentioned, right, meth does affect your body. What organ of your body, oh, there's some fast hands over there. Okay, all right, I'll get there. What organ of your body is affected the most, right? And really, it's the one that kicks out the fastest when you're using meth. The heart. The heart is correct. Let's give him a round of applause. The heart is a very important organ. Again, it's not an organ that can be fixed. Once you break it, you eventually lose it. So best really to not touch it, not have that first taste. Um, and again, I think I just actually gave the answer earlier, but it's best to double down so that you guys can remember this. Again, if you are caught holding meth, you can be charged with the possession of controlled substance. Meth is a Schedule 2 controlled substance, right? There are 4 schedules. My question is, how long can you be put away for a PCS2 charge? Let's go over here. All right. Go ahead and say your name and tell us how many years.
My name's Aria Iglesias. You can be put into prison for 3 years.
All right, 3 years is correct. Let's give her a round of applause. Gosh, man. Is it just me or are the Bulldogs like the smartest public high school on the island, right? Right? You guys agree with I'm the only Bulldog in our team, so they can say anything. All right, so I'm just gonna, I think I have about 2 more gifts here. Just some filler questions because I want everybody to be able to go home with an Eric the Eagle. All right, easy question. I'll go at the very back over there because I haven't been really nice to you guys over here. Easy question. Can anyone here tell me what is the name of the Attorney General of Guam? Okay, let's go. You got this, Mr. Lawyer.
Do I say my name? Yes, go ahead. My name is Tao Almochin, and the Attorney General is Douglas Moylan.
Yes, he's correct. Let's give him a round of applause. The Attorney General is Douglas Moylan. Okay. Who have I not, which side have I not really asked? I think this center one at the very back here, I have not really asked questions. Again, another very easy question. You get your last bag of the day. All right, who wants to take a shot? You wanna as a team? All right, don't worry. It's a pretty easy question. What is the name of the AG's office mascot? Eric is correct. Great job. And Eric's right there. He's coming up. He's going to get, I don't know, you guys should probably share the wealth there. But great job, everybody. Thank you for being such good students. I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic again to the Attorney General to give some closing remarks. All right, sir.
Well, I'd like to thank, Vice Principal Flores, Mrs. Iglesia, all the teachers that have brought us here today together. You know, we're your public servants, okay? Always remember that when you elect somebody, you have 4 years of public service. You guys are what we're here, you are who we are here to help, literally, okay? I don't want to go after you in terms of breaking the law. I want you to know what the law is and then make that decision to follow the law, okay? So, thank you, Mrs. Iglesias.
Thank you to our Attorney General, Douglas B. Moylan, for coming to our school. Show some Bulldog pride. Viva Bulldog! Viva Bulldog! Situs Maasi for coming over and sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate your visit with us. This has been a very learning experience. And of course, the kids are going to have a quiz later. As usual, we promise always knowledge first, so they can be good, respectful citizens of Guam. Thank you for coming. And on behalf of our school, we like to give a certificate of appreciation to our Attorney General, Douglas B. Moylan, for coming out to represent our school by acknowledging that we have some things that we need to do as a community, build better citizens on Guam. Thank you.
All right, lastly, if we have some stickers, some stuff. Who here is taking chemistry right now? No one? Okay, if you guys need your periodic tables, we got them here. Who here has not mastered the multiplication table? Well, yeah, actually don't raise your hand. But yes, we have those as well. Please do come up. We have some giveaways for you guys before you guys head back to your classes. Thanks, everyone.